Alright, so today I think I'm going to try to get back to the normal routine to get to so now I've taken a break for a couple days, so I'm going to get back to trying to look at this one. I think that's what I'll do after my warm up, and so I'll just kind of, I don't know what I want to warm up on. I was thinking I'll mess with the drum maybe some more to warm up, and then I'll do the joke jump, and I'll come back to here. So I don't know, I was trying to mess with the cajon. I haven't been messing with the cajon enough, I feel like. So my cajon is properly positioned. So I was going to try to mute it a little. So I'm on open D right now. Collection at 4 o'clock. Yeah. Let's try the joke jump, and then I'll come back to it. Still. Let's see. I was trying to put this together last night. It's kind of hard because the chat keeps on trying to tell me I can't like make fun of people in the imagery. So it's kind of I'm not sure if it totally works. But I was watching this Tucker Carlson thing where he goes to Israel for an interview with no, I forget, Huckabee, right? And so if anybody's not, our general political situation is Tucker has gone crazy as far as I can tell, and he's basically kind of blaming everything on Israel or something, right? I don't know. That's kind of his thing. So but it was kind of funny because he went over there, and then he seems like he's complaining, and it seems to mirror this victimhood mentality that has been a problem on the left for a long time. Like we've been having this thing where there's a victimhood, war going on. Who can be on the highest victimhood status? And now these the top tier, podcasters that came out of the mainstream of sewage media world are now playing the same game. They're playing the same game. I went over there, and so he went over there, and it's cracking me up because they're making him sound like there's the memes of like him, and he's like Jesse Smollett, where the guy he made up this story that he was attacked by Donald Trump supporters or something like that. It's Tucker Carlson's doing basically the same thing, right? As far as I know, I'm not an expert in this stuff, but it's kind of hard not to kind of follow this stuff lately. It seems like Israel has got to be pretty nice. I mean, they seem like they bend over backwards to try to accommodate the fact that they have the three major kind of Abrahamic religions kind of in that area. So you would think that, the level of diplomacy that I think it feels to me like they've developed over there is extremely good, right? So I kind of find it like you would get far worse at LA. I mean, come on. Like at LAX, they wouldn't give a crap. They'd pull you over aside if they dump you in a room for a long time because they didn't like the way your bag looked. I mean, so it's just kind of funny. So I think he's kind of complaining. It's obviously over complaining about the situation. Because I would think, like, post 9/11 over here, we had the heightened stuff on the airports. And I would think if you're in Israel, the heightening of the airport security would even be way higher even. So it seems like, again, he's just whining. So that's the basic premise. All right. So you guys see Tucker Carlson talking about that Israel airport thing. I love when commentators turn routine travel into an origin story. So he's like, I picture him calling the newsroom from Ben Gurion, like, it's a 911 emergency over here. 911, get me on the air. I've got news to post. I need to get my clicks. I got a story. Sir, what's wrong? heavy breathing on the other end of the zone. He's gonna have a panic attack. The guy's gonna have a panic attack. He's standing there with his headphones around his neck like he just survived a moderately confusing podcast. Look what they did. They put these headphones around my neck like this in a threatening way, and I didn't take them off, but they were threatening to strangle me with my headphones. And his look mirroring that of Jussie Smollett after his horrible non-incident in so-called MAGA country in the middle. So he's still holding his Subway sandwich. He's still holding it untouched because nothing says international incident like defending an Italian BMT. He probably got that for free while he was waiting for 7 minutes to check his baggage or whatever they had to do. You know what I mean? Sir, what happened? It was aggressive. It was an aggressive airport stop. Dang it. I want clicks. How aggressive was it? They approached me. They approached me in what way? They walked like menacingly at me. They looked really mean. It was like a mob coming at me, man. It was like a mob coming at me. How big was the mob? How big? There was like two of them, maybe three. Two of them, maybe three. Situation was evolving rapidly. I'll tell you, it was a tough one. And what were they yelling at the time when they were coming at you for no good reason, except for like airport security, you know, in a highly risky area? There was a dramatic pause. They yelled at me with their security hats on. This is BB country. Oh my goodness. First of all, that sounds like a tourism campaign. That's not a threat. That's like a brochure. You didn't get attacked. You got welcomed. No, you don't understand. Imagine being assaulted by the national branding of the. He's describing the airport security like it was a movie of like Taken 4. You know, it's like, no, he's sitting comfortably as they like do the security check. They separated my producer. For how long? 7 minutes, man. For 7 minutes. 7 minutes? You know, 7? I've reheated leftovers longer than that. I mean, have you ever been to LAX? They'll pull you over for anything. They'll make you take your shoes off, stand on your head, and twist around with no pants while in your underwear, you know? I mean, this is ridiculous. They demanded answers from me. What kind of answers did they want? They wanted to know if I packed my bag, if I packed my own, those monsters. Somewhere there's a security officer going, sir, did you pack this yourself? And Tucker's like, I will not be silenced. I need clicks. And it's like, sir, they're looking for shampoo because you know, that's what they do at all these checks. You can't have like the liquid stuff in there. They do it at LAX and everything. And the best part is there's like a photo of him smiling with the security staff afterwards. So he's sitting there smiling as he's trying to get the rage bait at the same time. I think there's some performative stuff. That's not a hostage photo. That's a LinkedIn account photo. He boards the plane like he escaped Shawshank, for crying out loud. We're out of the country now. It's like, dude, you cleared customs. That's not freedom. That's boarding group number 3. You know, tone it down, you know? And the whole time, still holding the sandwich, untouched. That's how professionals deal with a crisis. Because if you survive an international incident, you still got to finish lunch, right? It's like, seriously, if you really want this much like estrogen-fueled drama, you need to stop watching politics and just watch like Wicked or something. Throw on Wicked if you want. This guy's got the wrong. I don't know what's going on with this guy. I don't know. Anyway, I wrote a song about it.
Did you see him talking about that airport scene? Turn a carry-on moment into Wolverine. Routine travel, now a hero arc. Ben Gurion, terminal after dark. Calling the newsroom like it's 911. Get me on air, this is not done. Producers like, sir, what's wrong? democracy. With an Italian BMT, it was aggressive. They approached me fast, 2, maybe 3. The situation moved so fast. This is baby country, sir. That sounds like a tourist campaign, please. You weren't attacked, you were screened politely. That's not taken for, that's airport security. Cleared customs, that's not escaping tyranny. That's boarding group 3. They separated my producer for how long? 7 minutes.
7?
I've rehated leftovers longer than that in my kitchen.
They demanded answers.
Kind.
If I packed my bag,
Monster, somewhere there's an officer calmly saying, sir, did you pack this yourself? And he's glowing like Super Saiyan 5.
I will not be silenced in.
Sir, they're looking for shampoo. There's a smiling photo, security staff, LinkedIn promo. That's not a hostage frame, that's networking synergy. Professional lighting, corporate energy. It was aggressive. They walked menacingly, flag waving, welcome committee assaulting him ceremonially. National branding descending from the sky. You survived a questionnaire about toiletries. That's not global conflict, that's airport formalities. You boarded the plane like Shawshank Redemption. We're out of the country, sir, that's just departure prevention. You cleared customs,
That's not freedom.
that's zone C seated. And the whole time still holding lunch. Because if you survive an international incident, you take the final bite.
Golden sunset through the cabin window. Heroes of metal detectors.
If you want this level of dramatic emotion, stop watching politics.
Just watch Wicked.
God, the guy's just turned into so whiny. There's a lot of things you could whine about. I don't really mind the whining if you pick the right stuff. If you pick something that's worth whining about, use your gift for whining, not like wine, but whining for good. Find something worth crying out loud. All right. Okay. Let's go back to, let's get back to it. All right, I'm going to go back to this bit here. Back to work. Slacking. All right. Put your power of whining to noble ends, for crying out loud. Here we go. All right. So we're back to 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, 5th fret up. 4 o'clock means that the 8th fret up, first string down, is going to be my Ionian, which is a C. I go back to the pointer, which is the Aeolian. And so that's going to be, I'm on position number 1 once again, which you might call the Ionian G shape, or you might call it the Aeolian shape. And then on the 5th fret down from, on the 5th fret, 3rd string down, That's going to be my G. That's going to be the tonic that I'm looking at. I'm building what I call a lean back chord, meaning it's defined by the second modal half step or third scale degree being in the lower left quadrant. So that's going to be this one right here. So that means nodal point number 7 is always the second modal whole step, second modal half step or third scale degree of the Mixolydian. And then the fifth would be down here. So that means that the fifth, that means that the Dorian is always the fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree. It's the Mixolydian fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree. And let me just get you like my normal, what I want to do is try, I've been thinking about this more again. I know I'm kind of overthinking this, but you know, like the problem, I don't think it is overthinking it, right? The problem is we have 3 units of measure that we're using. One is the scale degrees, and the scale degrees are not properly measured because they're kind of off by 1, because you should measure from the point, not from as though that point is the start of the measurement. And number 2, we're measuring with, you could measure like with modal half steps, which is the same kind of thing, except you do the measurement right. And then you also have a measurement in half steps, meaning actual notes away something is. And then in normal Western music, we have another measurement, which is basically the major scale. So all of the intervals are defined from the major scale. Now that's too many units of measure. They run into each other. You don't, so you can eliminate the one where you're measuring compared to the major scale. That's actually hurting you. It's not helping you, in my opinion, because what we want to do is look at the distance from each nodal point by basically, you can use scale degrees or modal half steps would be more efficient if, you know, they're basically the same idea though, and then distance, right, in terms of half steps. So I think the easiest way, like if you were to you've been brainwashed, our brains have been brainwashed to think that we have to compare it to the major scale so badly that we can't really get out of it, even though it's not actually helpful. I don't think, right? So how could you do that? I'd like to say, even if I still use the scale degrees, like if this is the fifth, I'd like to say it's a Mixolydian fifth, right? Which you could say is a perfect fifth, but I don't really need to. It's a Mixolydian fifth. I'd rather say it's a Mixolydian fourth modal half step, because then I would be measuring from nodal point 5 instead of making it the 1. But if I say it's a Mixolydian fifth, then that at least tells me what node I'm on, right? Instead of comparing it to the major scale and saying whether it's flat or not flat of the major, because I don't want to keep going back to the Ionian. Why would we? So that's the whole point that I think, again, we can't really get out of because it's been grilled into our head so much, but it's actually a problem because it's not the most efficient way to measure. So I think the simplest, I'm going to use a lot of language that maybe you're going too far, you might think, but from the basics of it, you could just say, if you just say the nodal point and then each interval, it's a Mixolydian first, it's a Mixolydian or Mixolydian second scale degree, Mixolydian third scale degree, Mixolydian fourth scale degree, then you could start to memorize what the distances are for the Mixolydian scale degrees. You could still use the intervals, the normal names, but I would rather just say long or short, because then you only have 2 instead of 5, right? So in other words, from the normal major, right, you've got a minor second, a major second, a minor third, a major third, and then a perfect fourth and an augmented fourth, and then a perfect fifth, and then you have a flat fifth and a perfect fifth, and then you have a minor six and a major six, right? So if you put all those together, that gives you the names you're pasting on this thing is major, minor, perfect, augmented, and diminished. 5 names. You only need 2 names, right? Because it's either one or the other. It's long or short. So again, that's way overly burdensome that you're to do that. There's absolutely no reason to do that, except that that's just been drilled into our head. And so I'm trying to undo that to some degree with my thinking, and I'm trying to think about like the easiest way to do it while still being able to bridge the gap, so that we can. Okay, so that's my thought process there. All right, this one's going to be the 7. So we're going to say that it's going to be a Mixolydian 6 modal half step, 7th scale degree, is a short distance instead of a long distance, minor instead of a major from the Mixolydian. So the Mixolydian 6th modal half step or 7th scale degree is 10 notes away. So 5 and then 10 as we cross the fault line. And then the one we're on is this one. That's the one our major focus is on right now, which is from a chord construction, that would be the 9, and the 9 is a compound scale degree or whatever they want to call it. If you go back to the local distance, it would be the first modal half step or 2nd scale degree. So if you go an octave up, it would be the 8th modal half step or 9th scale degree. So that's the one we're on now. So in other words, if it's the 8th modal half step up or 9th scale degree, 8 minus 7, because there's only 7 nodes, is 1. So it's going to be a local distance of 1 modal half step up. So it's going to be 2 notes away, 1 modal half step up, going from nodal point 5 plus 1 to 6. So we're going to choose this one down here in our shape. And so that's going to be that. And so that's going to be the one that we're on. So that means that nodal point 6, Aeolian, is always the 4th modal whole step times 2, 8 modal half step plus 1, 9th scale degree away from away. So that's going to be a distance in half steps of a local distance of 2, and then an octave up would be 2 plus 12, 12 plus 2. Okay. So that's going to be that. Now let's imagine. So if I look at that shape, then it's going to be like I'm going like this. That would be my normal lean back shape. Maybe I grab the 5 up here, and then I want to grab that 9, 8th modal half step, 9th scale degree. So I could shift here to put my pinky down. Now, if I drop the 5, I might be able to get here, boom, 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 and grab the 7. So kind of an awkward shape. So I get the 7 and the 9. Otherwise, maybe you drop the 7. The 9 should be kind of pretty because it's a major 9. 7's a little bit more tensiony. Kind of takes the edge off of the tension of the 7. All right. So then let's go then and imagine that now I'm going to convert this to a Lydian. So I want to go from the Mixolydian to the Lydian and see what the interval changes are going to be. Now, why would I want to do that in practice? Well, the Lydian has the difference from the Mixolydian of a major 7, so it's closer to the major, and it has this tritone right there off of the root. So if I want to get tension right off the root like that, for whatever reason, that might be something to do. Anyway, so let's see what the difference is then. So I could move, one way I could say is I could find it on the same string and say, where is that in my current shape? It's back here in the box. So if I'm on nodal point 5, I want to go back to nodal point 4. Obviously, it's counterclockwise, negative 1 modal half step, which would be equivalent to 7 minus 1 or 6 modal half steps clockwise, which would be the 7th scale degree clockwise, negative 1 scale degree counterclockwise. We know that it's going to be negative 1 modal half step because it always is because of the formula. Every time I go from, if I go from nodal point 4 to 5, whole half, that's a whole step. If I go backwards from 5 to 4, it's going to be a negative whole step, we can call it, right? So that's going to be there, and that means that in this shape, I'm looking at this shape, which is the Mixolydian shape, you might call it, or shape number 5, you might call it the Ionian A shape. Okay, so if I move that 2 ticks to the right, I'm going to go from 4 o'clock up 2 ticks to 6 o'clock, which will be the collection of notes around the key of D. So if I put a 6, I'm going to visualize that. My finger's on the star of G, and it's just going to move up to here. So there it is, boom. So now we have it right there. And so now we are, of course, leaning forward into shape number 5, which you might call the Ionian A shape from a caged system, or I'm not sorry, shape number, I call it shape number 5, which is the Mixolydian shape. So now, so that's that one way to see it. All right, let's bring it back and say, what about if I don't know it from the same string? What if I know it from the top string? So I see the Mixolydian in this shape, which I might see better over here because then I have to finger it. So that's going to be what I would call the shape number 4. You might call it the Phrygian/Lydian shape from the top 2 strings, or you might call it a C shape from a caged system. So if I was here and I played that out, wait a sec, I'm playing it from the 2nd string. It would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if I played that same shape on the star of G as though it was the top string of shape number 4, I would be on the 2nd note here on G, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, then shifting up because of the kink in the tuning, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. So I could do that. So then if I imagine that, like if I take it from this node, what would it be? It would be going down 2. Every tick down is 5 ticks to the right. So 2 ticks down would be equivalent to 10 ticks to the right. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That would be equivalent to 14 ticks to the right plus nodal point 4, 18. Now you could say if it's 14 ticks to the right, I'm already above 12. I've already gone around, the planet has spun 12 because we only have 12 ticks on our planet. So that means 14 minus 12 is 4 minus 2, or 2 ticks. A net of 2 ticks, 2 plus 4 is 6. Or if I did it this way, just to prove the point, we could say if I go down 2 ticks from here, 2 ticks down would be 10 ticks, equivalent to 10 ticks to the right, and then 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Once again, it's 2 ticks, which would give us then, if I make this 4, 5, 6, collection of notes around the key of C, 6 o'clock. So there it is. And so if I analyze all the points from here, The third still has the same relative position. The fifth still has the same. The fourth modal half step fifth still has the same relative position, but the sixth modal half step seventh doesn't. And then the one that we're focusing on, the eighth modal half step ninth, which is equivalent to the first modal half step second scale degree, is down here. So is still in relative position. So this is the only one that got shifted off, which kind of makes sense because we haven't added the 11th, which is equivalent to the 4, which the Lydian node has a different distance to its other two people in the major club or in the long start club, the wide start club, and Mixolydian has a difference from the other people in its long start club of the 7 being a 10 note away 7. This one has, Lydian has the standard 11 note away 7. So that means we still have the same relative distance for the Lydian second modal half step third scale degree. So that means that nodal point number 6 is always the second modal half step or third scale degree from Lydian, or it's the Lydian second modal half step Lydian third scale degree, which has a long distance, major distance, 4 notes away instead of a 3 notes away. The Ionian node is always the Lydians. It's always the Lydians' fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree, which is a long distance, which you could call a perfect distance, 7 notes away as opposed to short distance of 6 notes away. And then the 7 here, 7 is equivalent to the sixth modal half step. And so if I'm going 6 clockwise, it would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, or 6 clockwise is 1 counter, or 6 clockwise is 7 minus 6, or 1 counterclockwise. So it would be 4 minus 1 is 2. So it should be the Dorian node, So now we're on the Dorian node. So we know that then the Dorian node is always Lydian's sixth modal half step, 7th scale degree, and it has a long distance of 11 notes away instead of 10 notes away, which you can it might throw you off because of the shape here, because it's 5 and then 10 diagonal because of the kink in the tuning, and then 11. Wait, 5, 10. Something seems wrong with that one. 4 minus 1. It should be out here, shouldn't it? It should be it's not 2, it's the Phrygian out here. This didn't look right at all. 4, 5, 10, 11. So the Phrygian makes more sense, is always the Lydian's 6 modal half step, 7th scale degree, which has a long distance instead of a short distance, major versus minor, 11 versus 10. And the one we're on is going to be this one, which still has the same relative position, 8th modal half step, 9th scale degree, which has the equivalent local distance of 8 minus 7, or first modal half step, 2nd scale degree. If I was on nodal point number 4, 4 plus 1 modal half step is 5. You can see it's 2 notes away because it's always, even the minors have a 2 note away first modal half step second. It's only the ones on the back of the house that don't. That's going to be the Locrian and the Phrygian there. Okay, so that's going to be our shape. All right, so if we're leaning forward, and so if I lean forward into that, if I think about my chord construction, naming, if I was to grab like this down here, I can only grab like, I still have, I'm not grabbing this 7 right here. If I just grabbed these and that one, what would that be? It would be normal naming convention would be G major with a 9, G major 9, and then like no 7 or something like that, because we dropped the 7. So we name it by the last interval distance, and then we drop the 7, G major 9, no 7 or something like that. But see, I'd rather call it from the Lydian node because it's not Ionian. I'd rather say it's going to be, a Lydian. So I'd say a Lydian, which I abbreviate with a Y, Lydian, Y, and then the distance to this last node is 9, which is 4 modal half steps. It's 4 modal whole steps to get there, 4 modal half steps. So I'd say Lydian 4 modal half steps minus the 6th modal half step. So I'd rather say it's a y4 minus 6, right? A y4 minus 6, meaning it's the Lydian node. The distance to the last note of that node is 4 modal half steps up, right? Because you take every other note, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you drop the 3, nodal point number 3, which is from a half step distance, the 6th modal half step, 7th scale degree. So I would think the most clean naming convention would be Lydian, or Y for Lydian, Y4 minus 6, right? Y4 less 6, Y4 drop 6, right? Or something like that. I feel like that would be a more clean naming convention, but no one cares. But I'm still going to pursue it, because why would you do it? It's a waste of time. If something is right, how could it be a waste of time? That's what Michael J. Fox in Secret of My Success. How could it be? I need to turn my fan on over here. It's kind of hot. Hold on a second. I need new headphones. My headphones are totally broken. That's okay. They still work. Let's go ahead and then pull this up and then look at it this way and think about it this way. Okay. So now we have the planet unfolded into a map. And then we're looking at our constellation in the stars of the fretboard, noting the absolute star position by the shape of the fretboard. So fret 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets up, 3 strings down. That's the star of G. And then we want to make it, so that's leaning forward into shape number 1, Ionian G shape. We want to make it the Lydian shape. So one way to do that, if I'm in the collection of notes around the key of C, that would be 4 o'clock. I'm going to go 2 ticks to the right to bring it to 6 o'clock. So boom, 2 ticks to the right. Now I'm at 6 o'clock, and I'm leaning forward into shape number 5, which you might call the Mixolydian shape or the Ionian A shape. I could do it this way and say, if I know the shape from this top node up here, Lydian, then that would be leaning forward into the Phrygian/Lydian shape, or the shape number 4, or the Ionian C shape. So I then could take it 2 ticks down and 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks to the right. 2 ticks down is equivalent to 10 ticks to the right, plus another 14 ticks to the right. That would be a full rotation plus another 2 ticks, because it would be 14 minus 12 is 4 minus 2, which is 2 ticks. So that would get me to 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock once again. So if I bring this over, there we have it. So now, from the perspective of the orange, I am once again at shape number 5, the Mixolydian shape, which you might call the Ionian A shape, but you can see from the perspective of the red that I can visualize that shape fingering-wise as though the 3rd string down from the ceiling was the top string of shape number 4. If that is something that would be easier for me to kind of think that way, that works, right? You can kind of cheat code your way to start to map the fretboard, tying these things together in your mind, remembering that you're looking for things to tie together that are already in your mind, right? It would be better for me to say, it would be better for me to say, this would be this changing this node would be the same as me shifting this up, which would be the same as me basically doing a formula from that point, which would be the same as me tying it this way, right? Being able to visualize it from those different ways is better than just knowing it one way. I know it by formula, or I just know it by interval, because any way that you know it by is another connection. If you think about the neural networks, we're in the day of age where everything is being analogous to the neural network, not trains anymore, not really machine, not really like a robot, unless it's an electronic, right? Because everything. So what we're learning about learning, it seems to me, because that's how you make these neural networks, and it seems to me that that means the way you learn is you make more connections from different perspectives. So the more connections you can make from different perspectives and be able to seamlessly go from one to the other, the better grasp you'll have of the fretboard. So however way you see it, if you're like, oh, I can see this over here, and you might not know why it works, but I can kind of visualize it as though I was playing the second string down of shape number 4 or of shape number 2. Well, what you want to do is then tie that into why it works. You know the heuristic. Now I've learned the heuristic, right? The heuristic is great. That's enough, but I want to be able to tie that into the full theory. And if I can do that, then it'll branch out to being able to expand the neural network, right? That's kind of like, so that seems to me that's what we're trying to do in any learning, basically all the time. That's pretty much all we're doing, right? That's like the whole, that's the process. So if I go this way, so now I've got the whole stars mapped on top of the fretboard so that it's not guitar centric, but then the shape is guitar centric over here. So now I can see once again, it's open E is nodal point 3 Phrygian, open A is nodal point 6 Aeolian at 4 o'clock at collection notes around the key of C. Open D is nodal point 2 Dorian, open G is nodal point 5 Mixolydian, kink in the tuning representing as though the guitar is dipped in water because it's distorted right there, represented by the constellation shape. Open B is nodal point 7 Locrian, and then open E once again on the bottom of the guitar closest to the floor is nodal point 3 Phrygian. So again, if I go 5 frets up, this is fret 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3 strings down, we get to the star of G. And if I want to make that G, keeping my finger on the star of G and make it the Phrygian, I can see the shape on the same string would be the easiest way to do that. And I can look forward because anytime the Phrygian is the 3rd string down, I'm leaning forward into what we might call shape number 5, or the Mixolydian shape, or from the Ionian's perspective and caged system, the Ionian A shape. So if I move this to the right 3 ticks, then we're going from 4 o'clock to 4 plus 3, 6 o'clock, right? So now we're at 6 o'clock out here, which is the collection of notes around D, if you make A 1 and you just number the notes. So now I'm leaning forward. I haven't moved my finger from the star of G from space, but I'm leaning forward into now shape number 5, the Mixolydian shape. You can see that it's D sharp is now wait, I went too far. That's right. I should be here. D is now the collection of notes. D is the Ionian because we're in the collection of notes around C major, or what I would just call 6 o'clock. Okay, let's bring it back. And let's say that I know the shape from this nodal point 4, shape, which I would call shape number 4. So it still works because I'm gonna rotate now. The planet doesn't just rotate clockwise and counterclockwise. I can rotate it anyway because the continents, oceans, and 7 continents, 5 oceans on the planet are completely symmetrical. So I can do it like a grid line, and we're gonna go 5, 10 down this way, and then 11, 12, 13, 14, which again is over rotation because the planet only goes 12 ticks. So 14 minus 12 is 4 minus 2, which is 2, which once again plus 4 o'clock gets us to 6 o'clock, collection of notes around the key of D, down here, up there, ba-boom. So now we can see once again, if I do that, then we get to 6 o'clock, D is Ionian. We are once again leaning in from the perspective of the yellow fretboard to shape number 5, the Mixolydian shape. And we can also see from read that I can visualize the third string down as though it's the top string shape-wise. It's as though it's the top string of shape number 4, as long as I adjust for the kink in the tuning when I get down to the area where the kink is located, because it's dipped in water and it causes a distortion. All right. Makes perfect sense. Let's go back here. I think I'll stop that. I'll just noodle around for a bit to end this off. Back to the drum. Back to the drum.